Okay. So what's up, my little firecrackers? This is Blazing What Is, blazing his way into another video. This video is going to be different as I've written some bullet points of things I want to go over in a semi-script format, but in such a way that it allows me to come up with something new. If I happen to come up with something while I'm doing this, I can slide it in easier. So yeah. So let's start off with this is what if Deku was in One Piece Part 5? Yeah, Part 5. Now, bounties. Izuku's, I believe I said was 400 million. Zoro's is going to be 125 million. Robin's is going to be 90 million. And I'm gonna say Bakugo is the only other person who has a bounty. His bounty being at 130 million, the second highest in the crew. So Bakugo's a bit pissy that Izuku has a higher bounty than he does. But yeah, it's just how it goes. But you know, he's the captain, so obviously he's gonna have the higher bounty. Anyway, so they have 3 months before they get to the next main island. There's a few smaller islands along the way that they do stop at, collect items, blah blah blah. So anyway, this is a total of 3 months before we get into the Rainbow Mist arc. So I'm going to be explaining a few things. So I forgot to say this before, but the flag of the pirates who in this are not the Straw Hat Pirates, is the skull is a wolf head. Like after Izuku got his devil fruit, they changed the skull to a wolf's head, to a more woven shape. It's still a skull, but it's more woven in shape. Looks more like a wolf's skull, if you catch my drift. And the wolf does have a straw hat, because why not? Also, Izuku's nickname, as a pirate, is the Sea Wolf. So they call him Sea Wolf Izuku. That's what it says on his wanted poster. And his crew is called the Sea Wolf Pirates. So yeah, that's how it is. That's what the crew is called. Now Izuku is training mostly with the Rumble Ball during this time. So, and this helps mainly Kirishima with his defenses even more. Kirishima gets this more resistant to the heat and cold and the electric forms, while the others who are training with him, being Bakugo, Sanji, Zoro, Tokage, and Kendo, are also gaining this resistance to those elements. They don't get it as much as Kirishima, because Kirishima is a more, he's the tank, basically, is what I'm saying. So he's more inclined to gain resistances. Chopper improves the Rumble Ball. The Rumble Balls now last for 8 to 10 minutes, but it lasts more towards the 8 minutes than the 10 minutes usually. May creates Sea Prison Stone bullets for Usopp. The thing about these bullets is you can reuse them. All you gotta do is find them. And that's why you have a magnet. But yeah. In his free time, Izuku is researching with Robin, because that's what Robin is doing instead of, changing, training. That's what Robin's doing. And they'd be researching, the things I mentioned in the last part. Shut up. So anyway, and as far as relationships are concerned, and they don't go that far. Like, the farthest that they go is cuddling, and that's just, comfort. To make, when Robin feels like she needs to be wanted. But that's as far as they go. Now then, into the Rainbow Mist arc, which is going to take up the bulk of this episode. At the end of this, there will be another training arc in which I will explain the new moves and or weapons they get. But for now, we're going to keep going with this. So, I'm going to start off when they get to the island of Luluca, where the Rainbow Mist arc takes place for the majority of it. So, yeah. So, starting there, Bakugo goes with Usopp, Robin, and Izuku to eat at a restaurant where the mayor's son ends up approaching them while Izuku's eating. Kirishima is with Nami, Chopper, and Sanji, who are helping Nami with shopping. Nami's getting paper for her mapping, and so on and so forth. Sanji and Kirishima are gentlemen and hold her bags until they get into a fight with someone saying they didn't pay their taxes. They then hand over the bags to Chopper and Nami for the fight. Zoro and the others were left to guard the ship. May being there just because she wanted to keep working on her blueprints and upgrades to the ship. She was a decent shipwright, but it wasn't her main thing. So she fixed up what damages were done to the ship. There were no major damages that they can see as of yet. So the ship doesn't look like it does in canon, where it's all messed up. Izuku's group, while eating at this restaurant, finds out that the mayor is taxing everyone there, like extremely overtaxing them and taxing them for the smallest of things. And when the tax collectors show up, aka the mayor's son and the people guarding him, show up, and he's still eating, and then they tell him he has to pay these outrageous taxes. This Bakugo's like, looks at the man and says, he's already angry, don't piss him off more. But it's too late. Izuku goes from his normal 6 feet tall, because I think I forgot to mention he's 6 feet tall in this, into his hybrid wolven form. This isn't gonna last long, but I want to be here anyway. In which he grows to 7'2", now looking down on the man. And this man is just quivering in fear under his piercing emerald gaze. Before Bakugo says, "You're dead." And at that moment, Izuku just one hand and cuts the man's head off with his bare hand. And the other two are about to run away, but Bakugo fires a piercing shot at one of them. Or is it called an AP shot? I think he calls it an AP shot. I think. It's that one where he cups his hand into like a finger and then fires off an explosion through there and it condenses into like a bullet, basically. And Usopp shoots down the other. Neither of them making it outside, and Izuku making sure that they're both dead. And Izuku then looks at the scientist that they came in with in order to learn more about what was going on, saying, "Is that enough to pay for your meal?" While turning back into his human form. They are legit. Everyone there, other than the people on his crew, are extremely terrified of him now, as they all go running out, not wanting to be anywhere near him, so that they wouldn't be punished by the mayor. Except for the scientist, of course. Now then, Kirishima and Sanji are now fighting the another tax collector, or the mayor's grandson, who has a suit that is, covered in fires off electricity, and they're currently, fighting him in that. Kirishima is tanking all the blows like the tank he is. That's his role in this group. In this crew, that's his job. He has to tank the hits. So he's building up his resistance to electricity bit by bit. And Sanji is trying to find a way to get in close without getting shocked by the electricity that just comes off of the suit. Yeah. Ooh, I'll have to teach him that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I'm trying to find myself back where I was. So Sanji is continuously moving out of the way while Kirishima takes the hits for him. Whenever Kirishima takes a hit, his entire body is covered in hockey. Which his is more powerful than Midoriya, than Izuku's at this point. So yeah. That's a thing. So Kirishima ends up seeing that there's a bunch of pipes and, motions Sanji to, go that way, and keeps the mayor's grandson distracted. As Sanji goes and drop kicks the person who's charging the suit that he's in, and knocking the man unconscious. Not dead, but unconscious. Kirishima then continuously bashes the suit as it is no longer being charged with electricity, only for Sanji to come in with his foot laced in, completely covered in hockey, as he delivers an axe kick straight down, cutting both the metal, what is left of the metal suit, as well as the person inside, in half. Nami then says, you shouldn't have killed him so quickly, which Sanji quickly corrects her, saying that Izuku wouldn't have hesitated to kill that man after he attacked them, and destroying part of the city and almost killing innocent bystanders, which Sanji and Kirishima had to move out of the way themselves. So Izuku wouldn't have hesitated to kill him either. And once he points that out, she finally realizes the amount of damage. Several buildings are going to need full to be torn down and rebuilt again, because the damage is just that bad. And several people are trying to limp away from the scene. Back to Izuku and his group. They follow the doctor as a large ship appears in the water. When they board the ship, it's completely unmanned. The doctor then says a few things, saying it's like it was 50 years ago, blah, blah, blah. Things go to canon from there. He takes the Going Merry, Izuku, the others get on the ship and go with them. So there are only 4 people that aren't on the ship. And that's Nami, Chopper, Kirishima, and Sanji. So yeah. So the people that were basically the guards of the ship, except for May, because she's still downstairs writing up blueprints and shit. But they all ask him what's going on, and Izuku's trying to make sense of it, but what he can infer, they're heading into the Rainbow Mist is to find some lost children. Or rather, some people that had been lost there 50 years ago. So yeah, that's a thing. So, moving on. And everything goes to canon. They get in there. After they go and they head into the mist. After they find themselves in the Rainbow Mist, the scientist Henzo identifies this as a ship graveyard, which I believe is called Eddie's Lobby, if I remember correctly. which I should. If I didn't, that'd be embarrassing because I literally just rewatched it yesterday. But yeah, so he says, like, no ship that ever comes in here ever leaves. Izuku then says, well, obviously that's a lie because we just saw a ship that you said was in here come out of it, so obviously it's possible. Izuku then uses his observation haki to take a look around, and so does Kyoka, as she also wants to, be of minor use. She's not that good in combat, so, looking around and seeing if there's, anyone here, since they came in here to look for people, might as well, look for them. And when they do, they both find, like, tons of treasure of all different shapes and sizes, and even some jewelry with sea prism stone that would be useful for the sea prism bullets that Mei is developing, or has developed but can make more of. He tells the others, they tell the others, and Izuku goes searching, using Shave and Skywalk to get around. And he comes back with a lot of treasure, only to be assaulted by a small group calling themselves the Pumpkin Pirates. Kyoka goes up to Izuku and whispers to him that, from what she can tell with her observation haki, that they're all just kids, and she points out their positions. He nods and uses Moonwalk and Shave to get to where all the kids are and gathers them up pretty quickly and ties them to the mast of the Going Merry. He doesn't do it that tightly, just enough so that they don't move or get out. And one of them speaks up, saying that he has a bomb, and if they don't let him and his friends go, then he'll use it. Everyone on the ship who can use observation haki and uses it, and they all say simultaneously, "We aren't stupid. That so-called bomb you have there is fake." The kids were all scared out of their minds at this point, as they were kids and these were actual pirates. It's a difference that they had learned a long time ago. Henzo is still in shock, but comes out of it when Izuku starts waving his hand in front of his face. Henzo apologizes and tells them how these kids are the people that entered the Rainbow Mist 50 years ago. Robin then speaks up, saying that perhaps the concept of time here doesn't exist, so they haven't aged that much, even though it's actually been 50 years. All of the kids, except for Rampanui, are now kind of sad, as all of their, everyone they know is probably gone by now. Zuko then starts trying to find a way out of the Rainbow Mist, or Eddie's lobby, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to refer to it more as the Rainbow Mist. While on the other side of the mist, Nami and her group were having difficulty staying hidden from the tax collectors, especially after they found out that Izuku had killed the mayor's son, and the person that they had killed was the mayor's grandson. And Nami wanted to find a way into the Rainbow Mist after she heard a few of the tax collectors saying that the Rainbow Mist was filled with treasure. Nami's group steals some safety equipment from the idiots that work under the mayor and heads into the Rainbow Mist after hearing that the rest of the crew had already gone in there, Nami is the one who actually takes the rowboat that's tied to a string and goes in there. Whereas Sanji, Chopper, and Kirishima are left to fend off all of the soldiers that are trying to stop them from going into the mist. Because Kirishima is taking all of their attacks, and Sanji is using the Tempest kicks that were taught to him by Izuku. Sorry about that. I had to check something. So, they're keeping up all of them. That's what I was checking. Hope that's my brother and not my mom. Hey, Devin. Hey. I'm recording.
Okay.
Sorry about that. So yeah. So they take out most of the lackeys pretty easily. So now there's just the mayor. Yeah. But back to Izuku. Izuku continued plundering the ships in the so-called graveyard until all four of the storage rooms on the Going Merry were completely filled with treasure. You physically could not open the door to the treasure room without gold and other jewels spilling out. It just wasn't possible. If this was a cartoon, the door would be bending outward at how filled this room was. He did all of this without going into his hybrid form, as he wanted to shake off the rust he had on his skills with the 6 powers. He hadn't used them in quite some time. The only time he did was to help Sanji learn how to use the 6 powers. Or one of the 6 powers. And Sanji absolutely refused to learn how to use Finger Pistol, as he took a vow to never fight with his hands. So Izuku respected that, and man decided to just let it be. Now, while the pirates that went into the mist with the children was freed by one of the idiot children, after the children had been released, saying that they were going to take them home. The pirates seize all but 4 members of Izuku's crew until they hear Nami shouting at them from a little dinghy filled with treasure. Before leaving it and climbing onto the boat, Izuku looks at her saying, "Where do you expect to put all that?" And Nami answered, "In the storage rooms, why?" She was confused by his question. Izuku responded by saying, "I already filled all of those, so I ask again, where do you expect to put all that?" Nami's eyes practically turned into berry symbols as she ran up and clung to his arm, saying that this is one of the reasons that she loves him. Gold digger. But it's okay, we all love Nami. Izuku sees the pirate trying to get into the dinghy while everyone is facepalming at Nami and not paying attention to him. Izuku uses Shave and escapes Nami's grip and grabs the man by the throat, saying, "What do you think you're doing?" He said, giving the man a death glare. He's not going to let someone steal his treasure. He's a pirate after all. You can't let someone do that. It'd be a disgrace. He says, "Oh, come on, man. You already have 4 whole rooms filled," he said. And he said in fear, and his voice was extremely noticeable. Nami punched the man into the deck and out of Izuku's grip, causing the deck to crack and break. As she screamed, "Don't you dare try and steal my hard-earned treasure." Izuku lets out a hearty laugh. "Let's tie him up," he obviously say before he says, "Let's tie him up. He obviously can't be trusted." If that doesn't work, shoot him in the head and throw him overboard. Izuku, as well as the other kids, made their way out of the mist on the Going Merry, as it had opened up again. And the dinghy that Nami came in on, she had practically begged them to, strap to the ship and leave it there, since there was nowhere else to put all of the gold and treasure and other treasures that she had found and loaded into the dinghy. So they make their way out of the mist, but once they got to the other side, they found that the people that they had found there, the kids and the other pirate, were gone. To put some perspective on this, I know it was the explosion that sent them back in time, but I'm going to say once they made it out of there, they just reappeared back in the time that they came out from. So, there you go. And that rule only applies to living beings, not the treasure that they stole from there, because that's just stupid. And Nami was complaining a bit that they didn't, get more when they had the chance, because they never knew when that place was going to open up again. But Izuku did not want to go and get even more treasure, or that would just weigh down their ship. Instead, he said, "And your greed is showing. We already have a lot more than we should really be holding, if I'm being honest," looking at the dinghy filled to the brim with treasure. Sure. They reach land to see the mayor attacking his comrades in a suit that looks like it's shooting fire every which way. Kirishima's body is now practically glowing. Well, not practically, it is glowing, as he's taking all of the hits, but Sanji can't get close enough, and whenever he does a Tempest kick, he just moves out of the way, which is impressive for the heavy suit that he's in. All of Chopper's moves are up close, ranged attacks, and he can't release them and he can't get close enough to do anything. This pisses Izuku off, that he's trying to kill his friends. And he had already wanted the mayor dead for what he was doing to the people of this island, but now he was pissed. So Izuku went and popped a rumble ball, saying it's time to rumble. Well, while transforming in midair, and speeding his way in front of another fire attack, as he turns into his fire god form, as I called it. If anyone has a better, nickname for these forms, please let me know. But I'm calling them these, god forms, because it's based on Norse mythology, and Fenrir devouring gods and then obtaining the abilities of said gods. That's why I call them god forms. Anyway, continuing on. This one in particular is one of the ones that lasts for 8 to 10 minutes, as he used all of the ones that were made prior, or that only lasted 5 minutes while he was training with Sanji and the others. Now in his fire god Fenrir form, he quickly made his way and blocked the attack from his friends being burned, or rather I should say Kirishima getting even more burned. Izuku looked at the mayor with bloodlust in his eyes as he said, "If you don't stop, if you want to harm them, then you're going to have to go through me." His voice nearly crackling like it was fire. "Well then, why don't you help me with the new move, then, huh?" Izuku had an idea for a move with his fire god form, but would be unable to use it on the ship without sinking it. Therefore, he had no time to train with the move. As he screams out, "Hell's eruption!" and he slams his hands into the ground at full strength, causing it to crack. The chains that are wrapped on his body then move into these cracks that are bulging that are now just filled with fire. The cracks glow as they head towards directly under the mayor. The mayor has no idea what's going on and is too far away from his source of power to move any further. The chains shoot out of the ground and grabbing onto him as the fire is then forced out of the ground underneath him, erupting underneath him. The chains at this point are now white hot. The extreme heat he's feeling, even though this suit was meant to withstand extreme heat, nothing like this. This is an inferno from hell. Izuku then jumps as high as he can, pulling on the chains. He's pulling the mayor up. The mayor is honestly probably dead at this point from his old age, would be too weak to survive the heat.